So as we were walking the last day to our camp where we were going to set up, one of the team members, and he's 16, and he's one of the hardest working. I mean, all these guys are super hard working, but we walked by and he says, "Sir, this is my house. This is actually where I live." And a couple of us had kind of fallen behind, and so this is, there were only 2 or 3 of us at the time, and we kind of asked him. We said, could we go inside? I was always curious to see what these houses were. I mean, they are bamboo sticks and plastic tarp. I mean, that's it. So he says, well, my parents are inside. Let me go ask them if that would be okay. So I said, sure. So he comes out and he says yes, and he invites us in. So 3 of us, I think, from 3 or 4 of us from the Amana team went in. And we walk in, and the space is about 10 foot by 20 feet long. It's divided up into one large room where he, his brothers, and his father slept. And then the other half had a little corridor that kind of turned around where the kitchenette was at the back, and there was another small room where his sisters and his mother slept. So in this space of 200 square feet, there were 11 family members. 1 light bulb for all of them from the middle, and there was barely enough room to stand. So then his parents sat down and talked with us for a little bit. He talked with us for a little bit. And then his dad invited us to dinner. And it caught up me off guard that I was not expecting him to say, why don't you come have dinner with us? And the hospitality of these people in general were phenomenal. But he wouldn't let it go. And we kind of made excuses. Well, we're not allowed to stay that long. He says, no, I'm aware of the curfew. Curfew's at 6. I'll have you out by then. We said, well, no, Imana wants us to leave a little bit earlier. He says, okay, fine. Why don't you come dinner with me a little bit earlier? And we kind of go back and forth because he would not let it go. He says, fine, come lunch with us. And finally, we invited him. We said, why don't you come have lunch with us at the camp today? And he was okay with that. And actually, he did. He and his wife came and met with us there. But he for them to have so little that it didn't even faze him to say, you guys have to come eat with us. So after we left the camp, I was talking to his son, who was on our team, and I said, tell me about your food situation. Because the way it's set up, either, from what I gathered, either every 2 weeks or every month, basically, you could go get food rations. And he says, yeah, we get it once a month. And I said, what all do you get? He says, we get rice, we get oil, and we get lentils, dal, or what's called dal locally. And I said, and how long does it last? He says, sir, we get by. And he wouldn't say anything more than that. And I said, anything else? He says, everything else we have to buy. The meat, the chicken, any vegetables, anything else we want, we have to buy. And there were markets actually set up inside the camp. Then I was thinking that, look, this is a family of 11 with rations that barely served them a month. And they wanted to invite our team of 11, not just invite, absolutely insisted that we stayed there. And he wouldn't let it go. It was the hardest no I've ever had to do. That's the kind of people that are there. And that's the kind of people you help. And that's where it makes a difference. If all you focus on is the chest pains or the coughs and the colds and the fevers, and I don't have options because the pharmacy is limited, it becomes a very different experience. If you look beyond that to all the people that are around you, then it becomes something completely unique. And one day somebody even said that, the Imam of the local community, we met with him afterwards. This was a different kind of impact moment. We talked to him after the day was done. And he said, we're so far back and we're so far deep into the camp, which is part of Imana's intention, and IMR's intention was not to just find something in the periphery where everybody else was set up, but to really get into the areas where they don't have access to it, where it's harder for them to go get a physician. He said, nobody has ever come to us until you guys did. He says, because we're so far in that it's hard for them to get to us. And he said, just that fact made a huge impact for us and meant so much for us. I mean, if you look just beyond the medicine and you look at the compassion of medicine and why we do things and the impact you make, just the presence of being there meant so much to them, and they were so grateful for that.